This podcast episode is brought to you by Coors Light. These days, everything is go, go, go. It's nonstop hustle all the time. Work, friends, family, expect you to be on 24/7. Well, sometimes you just need to reach for a Coors Light because it's made to chill. Coors Light is cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold packaged. It's as crisp and refreshing as the Colorado Rockies. It is literally made to chill. Coors Light is the one I choose when I need to unwind. So when you want to hit reset, reach for the beer that's made to chill. Get Coors Light in the new look delivered straight to your door with Drizzly or Instacart. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
This week on The Timeline, from The Ringers YouTube channel and The Dime Drop, Kyle Mann, and we catch up with our friend Max McCauley about our over-unders. Welcome to the Timeline of Phoenix Suns podcast. My name is Mike Vigil. Sam Cooper is here with me. Sam, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Mike. It's been fun over the past couple of days to watch some actually decent NBA teams playing the playoffs so far. Not that you would know it from watching the Brooklyn Nets right now, but it's been fun.
Yeah, this has to be new for you guys, right? Watching good basketball? What's it been like?
Yes, it is new. It is new. Joining us here is Kyle Mann, the proprietor of, I think, the best basketball channel on YouTube, The Dime Drop. Kyle, how are you doing?
Pasha, stop. There are lots of good ones. I'm good. Happy to be on here with you fellows. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And yes, it is a new thing to watch playoffs.
He's pretty good, but Kyle, you're no Mike Korzemba. You still got some guys on YouTube to catch up to with your analysis.
Oh, Korzemba, wow. I actually one time charted out because I was curious, just new to the YouTube thing, and I was looking at like what were the highest. I was just using keywords and seeing what the highest performing videos were, and he's at the top of like every single one. Millions of them. I'm always amazed at what he accomplished. I'm really complimenting him right now. I'm not. I wouldn't. There's a sort of a fraternity, I think, of YouTubers. Like, unless you're shitty to me, and I'm not going to be shitty to you, but like. He like can take something so minuscule and make it into like a 4 million view video, and my all time high is like 400,000 views. So I could learn something from him. So yeah,
he can do 12 minutes on anything.
Yeah, he's like
he can turn anything.
Who's LeBron's dad? 15 million views. It's like what do you know about LeBron's dad? I'm impressed. Or his
Delonte West.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Or like he did the Kobe. He did one that like caught my eye, and it was a 2K simulation of Kobe with Charlotte, and it was really just a bunch of footage. This is going to get back to him. I know I'm going to regret this, but it was. But then it had more views than all of my videos combined. So I was just like, well, some people just have a good eye for. I don't know. For every Morrissey out there, there's a Nickelback or something. That was bad. Cut that out. Cut that out. He just has a good ear for pop, I think, is what I would say. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the candy.
Right.
He makes the best candy.
That's a skill, and those people typically make the most money in life, in my experience.
Oh yeah.
So good on him. Yeah.
Yeah. You're saying he's the Katy Perry of basketball YouTubers.
He just has a good pop ear. I'm really, I've always been, that's the funny thing about me is I've always been in the arena that I'm in. It's just like, artsy fartsy, nerdy jokes, things like that. It's like most people, we don't get him. We'll just push him to the side. We're talking about bands. It's kind of the same thing. Yeah.
I mean, that's, I think, why it gets to me, because it's a good combination of great footage, and obviously you can thank the NBA for that, but also the references are right up my alley. We're probably close to the same age, so I'm sure that has something to do with it. But also, I think it's really good analysis. I think you do a good job of identifying skill sets and explaining how they would and maybe wouldn't translate in a lot of cases, as far as a lot of the videos that you do are college guys coming into the NBA, and I think you do a really good job at that. You're from Kentucky, right?
I am. Can you tell from my accent at all, or can you hear?
We did research ahead of time. I'll say that.
Okay. Well, no, it's like funny because there's some words definitely on the Ringer platform. I'll be like, they must think I am just a hick. because I'll say certain words and I'll be like, there literally should just be banjos playing behind me. Like when I say like, I said horse or something, I was like, he runs like a horse. I was like, oh my God. Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. Well, the reason I ask is because do you think growing up in Kentucky is the reason that you're watching these college guys and you know, there's no NBA team in Kentucky, and in Kentucky, of course, has some of the bigger, you know, Kentucky is where the Wildcats are, and that's the big team in Kentucky. Do you think that's what sort of got you to watching all these college guys and really trying to figure out how they translate into the NBA?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think that I was in particular, I tweeted about this tonight, actually. I mean, there are NBA fans here. We used to have an ABA team here a while back, right. But when the merger happened, our guy, I think his name's John Y. Brown or something, he just cashed out. He just took the money instead of attempting to join the NBA. I'm probably getting those facts wrong, but we used to have a pro team here, and but college is the thing, and I'm sort of not the minority maybe, but definitely not the majority. It's college basketball here. And I think I was in a position where, you know, I am like a diehard college basketball fan, but I also love the NBA. So I felt like I was in a position to, you know, bring that information to a big NBA audience, because even though I know a lot of the draft people now, you know, there's not as many people that sort of are way into both. So, yeah, I think that's how it happened. I mean, yeah, I grew up. I guess you guys have had a lot of Kentucky guys on.
Oh yeah,
on Phoenix lately. Yeah, rightly or wrongly.
Yeah, it was a running joke for a long time between Bledsoe and Brandon Knight and Archie Goodwin. I assume you're a Devin Booker guy. I feel like we got to ask.
And Tyler Ulis, don't forget him. You assume I'm a Devin Booker guy?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I like Devin a whole lot. That's a whole thing to go into. But
are you surprised? Because Devin Booker is a really interesting player. I think. First off, picking him 13th is like a miracle at this point, because you know the Suns picked him after their accidentally winning 48-game season, which could have been a disaster, missing the playoffs there, the most wins ever for a team that missed the playoffs, and then picking Devin Booker and lucking into that, because how much of a disaster these last few years would have been without picking Devin Booker. But the scouting report on Booker was always, he's the next Klay Thompson. That was the big thing with Devin Booker, talking about how he's a spot-up shooter. And, you know, he came off the bench for Kentucky. It was hard to really figure out what he is. But now he's so much different than that. Three-point shooting is actually one of his worst skills offensively so far in these short seasons that he's had. His shot creation has been much better than anyone sort of sold it as before. But you probably followed him pretty closely being in Kentucky. Are you surprised by his development, you know, and what he's become? Maybe more of like almost like a Ray Allen without the three-point shot? Or is this something that you could see coming?
It's pretty amazing that he hasn't shot over 40% from three yet. I was just looking at it, right? That's pretty wild. I mean, like, to be honest, when he was coming out, one of the problems that I think even Kentucky fans have a hard time dealing with this sometimes is that we don't see these guys at their best. Like, we're seeing them in a situation where they're playing with other good players, like in the college setting. So maybe their role's not going to be the exact same, especially at Kentucky, because, I don't know, back in the day, one of the alluring things for guys that might leave early was, hey, go to a school where you'll play more, have the ball in your hand, show what you can do. Well, with Calipari, that is, we call him Cal here. But he brings people in and kind of gets them to play with other good players. So we don't always get to see them in like their most, you know, projectable role at the next level. So with Booker, when he was here, I mean, he was on one of the best teams that we've ever had here, the 2015 team. That's probably, I mean, it's one of the great unclaimed titles in college basketball history. But Booker, you know, defensively, when he was at Kentucky, he was a mess. He was basically a spot-up shooter, a guy that ran off of like Iverson cuts, like, you know, two baseline screens, basically, where he would come out and take those Klay Thompson shots. I think there's a sort of a reductive habit that people have with comparisons. Someday I'm going to write something about this, and visual just sort of appearance is one of them. And I think that he just kind of looks like Klay Thompson. He's lighter, he's a shooter. And, you know, roughly the same size. But what I didn't see coming is the fact that, I mean, we didn't see him as a pick and roll ball handler at Kentucky at all. So like my projections of him were just comically off. I need to go like destroy those from the internet because I really didn't think that he would be. I'll be honest, he surprised me quite a bit. I mean, he was like a top 30 player in high school, sort of a fringe 5-star even. I don't even think he was a McDonald's All-American, but he was definitely not the jewel of the class. I think he came in with Carl Towns and Tyler Eulis, Trey Lyles. And yeah, that foursome, really good class. All pretty much NBA players. I mean, Eulis has had a cup of coffee in the NBA, but I was surprised. I have been very surprised to answer your question. So
I think anyone who says that they saw this coming, though, is just straight up lying. I mean, I don't think anyone saw this coming out of Devin Booker. And you were talking about the way that he played offense at Kentucky is just not the way we've been seeing him shoot this season with the Suns. I mean, he's at a point where 2/3 of his shots are coming unassisted, and he's playing primarily in that pick and roll position and just doesn't have the opportunity. If you look at his stats, he's actually a pretty good catch and shoot 3-point shooter. But his pull-up 3-point shooting, trying to do the stuff that guys like James Harden do, he's just not that good at creating for himself like that at this stage in his career. So I don't know. Mike and I have talked about this on the podcast before, but I think there's still a path for Devin Booker to become a 40% 3-point shooter. He just needs to have a good point guard next to him, and that's maybe where we get into conversations about prospects like Ja Morant, who I know you just made a video on a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and to address what you're talking about, I think some of the Sun, you know, what happens when you don't have creation is there's this sort of, I always see in my mind like this, there's such a symbiotic relationship between creation and playmaking and 3-point shooting. So sometimes the statistics for younger players, in my opinion, can be a little misleading if you don't have a lot of creation on the roster. And I know that that's something that the Suns have struggled with lately. And, you know, there's a lot of gravitational pressure on Booker for that reason. You know, I think it's going to get better and better. And I think that that's something that they obviously are going to be looking at in the draft, which segues into what you were asking. I mean, Ja Morant, what specifically what sorry, I sort of got away from the question there. What were you wanting to know about Ja Morant?
Oh no, I mean the way you put it in your video was Ja Morant. I think you said Phoenix, New York. There was one other team you said would be a great fit for Ja Morant. You don't take him over
Chicago, I think.
Chicago, yeah, that makes sense. But you don't take him over Zion Williamson, number one. Does that make Ja Morant basically the number 2 guy on your board?
No, that's what I've been telling people. I probably should have clarified that better in the video, but I just think that it's possible, maybe even likely, that somebody's going to take him there. In this draft, I have kind of gone back and forth between, specifically for the Suns, I forget who I was talking to the other day. Maybe it was Jackson Hoy, I think. We were just talking about whether the Suns should go fit or they should just go best player. And in my opinion, you know, in a draft like this, I lean towards maybe just go ahead and just take the best player, because I don't think that you're going to be, this isn't a draft like last year's draft or like a higher quality draft where you might legitimately be able to address concerns quickly, like in the top, you know, in the lottery. In this draft, I don't think outside of, you know, maybe 2 or 3 guys, and I'm not sure if Ja is one of them, that could come in and address a competitive team or a team that's wanting to be competitive to address their concerns quickly. I have some reservations about Ja. Like, I think he's a good player. I'm not sure that he's going to be an elite player. I think he's going to be one of those like good but sub-elite point guards in the league, sort of in that Bledsoe, Jeff Teague kind of a range. But I don't know. I think he could work with Phoenix. I just don't think that he solves any of your defensive problems. Like right now, he's a defensive zero. Other than back taps and coming over for like using his athleticism to sort of erase when he's gotten beaten, things like that. He just basically didn't play. He basically was playing on a high school team, playing for Murray State. So, well, I mean, I'm not to insult Murray. In the way that I mean that is, I'm saying that he was so hugely important to them, like his use, he was the grand central station of their offense. Totally, everything came through his hands. He played some off of the ball, and he can play off the ball, but I think that because of his importance to them, he just would kind of pick his spots defensively. I don't think that positionally on the ball, he's a great defender right now. So for that reason, I'm not so sure if I would. I'm all over the place right now with Ja. I'm still kind of trying to make up my mind, but I don't have him number 2. I don't think so.
I think so. The Suns now can fall all the way to 7, which is, part of the new draft odds, the way that it works to try and tackle the tanking problem that existed since I guess Tim Duncan was taken by the Spurs. But
right.
That means that the next point guard off of most people's boards is Darius Garland for the most part. And I know you're a fan of Darius Garland. Do you envision a world where Darius Garland could actually be better than Ja Morant? Or do you think that after the first few guys, the talent drop off is so big that you're just kind of picking out the best possible player and maybe even focusing on fit a little bit after that? So if we do fall to 7, I think Darius Garland is someone that maybe the Suns look at if they plan on keeping the pick.
Yeah, good research there. Where did you go back to find out that I was a fan of Garland? I don't remember the last time might have been like the Hoop Summit video like a year ago. Maybe I think I publicly stated that, or maybe it was Twitter.
I believe you. Yeah, I think you were on another Suns podcast, so we did a little research listening to that podcast with Locked On. So,
oh, that's right. Yeah, with Evan. Yeah, okay.
Yes, with Evan.
Right. Shout out to him.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
After the top, it's a guessing game, man. Like, I mean, I would say that you don't want to reach for Garland. I think as high as like 2 through 5, that's tough to reach for Garland. I think that if you're at 7, you could rationalize reaching for Garland. I guess what you got to just look at is, team, how realistic is. I mean, what would you guys rattle off as Phoenix's? I mean, rim protection is pretty abysmal from researching Ayton.
Rebounding.
I mean,
and then creation.
Yeah. I hate to just do the simple thing here, but I mean, my God, Zion would just be absolutely perfect.
Don't worry.
I know. Oh, we do that every week.
Do you guys just get drunk on Friday night and imagine Zion, or do you like create him on 2K? Have you guys done that? Is that
not yet? Yeah. That's a good idea.
Okay.
But it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night for me generally. It's been a long season. This is our first season doing this podcast, and they won 19 games.
Right. I've compared him to the symbiote from Marvel Comics. I'm just like, whatever team he joins is going to become a super version. Like he just fills in the cracks of every, like he covers so many problems. And I just think pairing him next to Ayton, like, because Ayton is turning into a decent positional defender. It's just he's not quite an eraser, but he's so physical and he can move his feet so well laterally. You got Zion back there to sort of, because Ayton can kind of swallow people up physically because he's so big and strong, which is, you see some guys are better at getting block shots in that scenario. I just imagine like Zion coming in and cleaning up the messes there. He would be an amazing fit. But yeah, I mean, I like Garland. Garland's just a totally different player than Ja. He's much more of I compared him to, it's sort of a template type thing, but he's in the template of like a Kemba type, like, bug on a rug, like a guard who is quick, but he really, really shoots it well off of the dribble. No, we didn't get to see him in college at all, which really stunk. I was looking forward to that. He does some things that I like out of a guard. Like I really like my point guards to be able to stretch the floor a lot at the point of attack. And he does that, and Ja not so much. Ja's offense is more of a pressure release. Garland is a guy who can hunt his offense capably. I really in the last good amount of tape we have of him is from FIBA, and then we have good high school tape on him. So that's really all I have to go on right now, unfortunately, to compare the two.
So you mentioned DeAndre Ayton a second ago. We should talk about the 4 rookies essentially who got significant playing time on this class. But we'll start with Ayton because you did a fantastic video for The Ringer about a month ago, maybe a little bit more than a month ago, of sort of his midseason report. As we talk about DeAndre Ayton, really the goal here for the Suns obviously is to build a contending team with Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton kind of as the core, as the guys. What do you see as DeAndre Ayton's ceiling right now? Is it all-star caliber? Is it maybe all-NBA caliber? And also, I want to know, do you sort of envision, because this is something that Mike and I have debated on this podcast before, is there a situation going forward where DeAndre Ayton actually ends up becoming better than Devin Booker?
Oh, wow. Yeah, well, I mean, they kind of, Ayton, I absolutely think Ayton can be an all-star. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Whether or not he just sort of has a season where he, bounces high enough to get there like more than once, that's sort of a question. I'm not for sure. I definitely think that he's going to have to develop a little bit as a guy that can stretch the floor so that he can play and sort of, that's something I pointed out in the video was I'd like to see him develop in some areas where he can intersect more with Booker, more, I don't know. I just think as a pick and roll partner, he's been kind of awkward in some of the video and some of the tape that I watched on him. I absolutely think he could be an all-star. When I projected him a year ago going into the draft, I mean, I thought that he could ascend as high as like maybe, it's hard to say a guy could be first team all NBA because that's like the highest and the highest praise. But second, third team, it's possible. Why not?
And do you think there's a scenario where he could be better than Booker? Or is that just out of the question?
I mean, yeah, they have different types of value. I mean, he's so efficient. I would have to kind of sit down and look at them side by side in terms of their numbers and development. But I mean, his first year has been sneakily one of the more efficient, like rookie center years in a long time. If he wasn't in such a great class, I mean, I think we would probably all be a lot higher on him, to be honest. What do you guys think?
Well, I think it's funny, first off, that people have so much trouble believing there could be more than one good player from any draft.
Right.
I think the way that the NBA Twitter has sort of, this conversation has now just boiled down to who's the one good player from each draft, and that's what the conversation has become nowadays, which is funny because drafts like these, maybe they don't happen often. I think it's one of the most deep drafts I've ever seen, and I think that there could be a lot of future Hall of Famers, potentially even maybe more than 3 or 4 or 5 from this singular draft if all the players kind of pan out the way that they could. But I have trouble believing it. I was actually asked this in a blog recently. Somebody asked me that same question, and is there a contender where either Devin Booker or DeAndre Ayton could be the best player? And just like you kind of mentioned with Zion, the ideal scenario for the Suns is that they luck into a player that's better than both of them, and that's the highest probability of them becoming a contender in the future. And that's kind of why Zion is so enticing to every team that's in this draft lottery, of course. But I don't really know. It's. I think you're right. I think the efficiency is important, but I think Devin Booker's ability to create for himself, if DeAndre Ayton could ever create for himself at that level, that would be really interesting. I think his passing is something that hasn't been explored too much because there's very little shooting on the Suns as well. And if he develops his passing in a way that he could, that would be interesting. We looked at some of the stats as far as his assists per game and what he's done in his rookie year. There's not a lot of centers that have done that as far as an assist to turnover ratio at his level alreday. So it'd be interesting to see if he can develop on that. The Suns have another rookie though, that's everyone kind of loves, in Mikal Bridges. And Mikal Bridges has done a really good job this season. It's been really interesting. He's one of those 4-year guys that comes into the league. He won championships in college and immediately contributed in his rookie year. Obviously a great defender. His offense has been shaky at best. He's been hesitant to shoot and maybe didn't shoot as well as people expected coming into the league so far. But he seems to be, advanced stats love him. But how have you felt about Mikal Bridges and his first year in the league so far?
Echoing a lot of what you said. I mean, the shooting, he seemed to have a little trouble kind of picking his spots. First of all, I thought it was idiotic that the Sixers traded him. I could not believe that. Could not believe that. I wasn't as high on Zaire as a lot of the draft community was, but I just thought Bridges was a guy that they definitely could use. But watching this game tonight, I think it's a little misleading. I think that he would be more valuable for them sort of going forward because they wouldn't really need Bridges to beat Brooklyn. But I've been a big fan of Bridges. I think I made a draft video. I know I did a draft video about him last year, and I think that he's just positionally really, really intelligent. I think that he's going to be a great catch and shoot guy in the league for a long time. I mean, he's a good athlete. He's not like an off the charts athlete, but I think he's a perfect guy to kind of put with Booker. I think that as they and it's the same kind of thing we were talking about before. The more competent kind of penetration and playmaking guys that you add to the roster, the more good shots you get. Because if you don't get good penetration and creation, nobody is going to get good shots. So, your percentages are going to go down. You're going to get less wide open looks. It's going to limit the kind of sets you can run. That's kind of one of the reasons I think Josh Jackson has been so. I guess he had a little bit of a surge there at the end of the season. I didn't really pay attention. Did he? He had like a couple games. Didn't he have like one
couple
game?
Games.
Yeah. Okay. I was like,
the same thing happened last season. I don't know how sustainable that it could be with Josh Jackson. He tends to succeed in March and early April only.
Well,
so
and
we'll wait.
Well, and two, a thing that happens here in Kentucky is like the guys who get signed to like the 10-day contracts, they'll have like a couple games and that where they play and score a little bit. And Kentucky fans will be like, "Oh man, he's making it in the NBA," and I'll be like, not so fast, not so fast." It's because this time of the year, it's just misleading. I mean, everybody that watches, is aware of that, I think. But yeah, I mean, they asked me, to be honest, they asked me to make a video about Josh Jackson in the Leap series, and I think I watched like a half of one of his games, and I texted my editor, and I was like, "This guy stinks. He's terrible." I mean, I said his shot chart is like a wasteland. It was yeah,
it's a total wasteland. About Bridges, one of my pastimes, other than drinking Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights with Mike, this season has been.
You should take it easy.
Probably should take it easy.
Drink water.
Thinking of Mikal Bridges comparisons, and there's a stat that I really love, which is, it's simple, but it's just the 4 non-point guard rookie wings to post 100 threes and 100 steals in a season. And if you just look at those guys who've gotten 100 threes and 100 steals in their rookie season, it's Donovan Mitchell, which is kind of off. But then Mikal Bridges, Shane Battier, and Kerry Kittles. And I think I look at a guy like
interesting.
Battier, a guy like Kerry Kittles too, another Villanova grad. In addition to Bridges, but I look at guys like Battier and Kittles who, came in as 3rd or 4th year players, a little bit on the older side, maybe didn't see a ton of progression out of them from year to year in the way you see linear progression from guys who come in as freshmen, but they were just solid for their entire careers. They put up good numbers their rookie years, and then they kept it going for 10 or 15 years after that. Do you see that as a sort of reasonable expectation for Mikal Bridges for the rest of his career, to be a role player in the mold of a guy like that? Or do you think there's some untapped potential that maybe we're not seeing but are going to see a couple years from now, where he really blows up into a much better player?
I didn't get to track closely sort of the micro of his up and down, but I know that, once you get past a certain age, I don't know, man, because watching him, he was always the guy who was the best defender on like 3 teams that basically were contending for a national championship. He guarded the best player pretty much every single time out. And I think that's that value in and of itself. Like he was just in a scheme that was going to be more translatable to the NBA. And I think that's going to keep him in a position to have value for winning basketball. I think that he's going to be, that's going to be good enough. Now, do I think that he's going to evolve more? And I think sort of the knock on him, or sort of some of the limitations on him were my kind of questions about whether or not he could become more than just a catch and shoot guy, or a guy that you could run off screens and kind of, which is, also just not necessarily standing still and shooting. But I don't know that I guess what I'm trying to get at is, this is how I talk. Sorry, I talk like Stephen Wright. I'll like circle around the drain and then go down it. But no, I think that he's going to struggle to become sort of an off the bounce creator, and I think that would stop him from being a star. Now he can get downhill and score, and he's a good athlete. He's long. He's I say over and over again, he's smart. Like his basketball IQ is good. I just think that he's going to I just don't know that he's ever going to be a flat out high level creator, or maybe even or even a high level playmaker. To me, like or a secondary playmaker, he struck me as an athlete that had kind of learned to play basketball. That's what he looked like when you would watch him. It was like, this is a guy that came into college basketball as a good athlete with some good raw materials. If you watch like a guy like Scotty Lewis that's coming in, he's going to Florida, it's similar kind of thing, really good tools, but he plays like an athlete that has been taught a little bit later. You know, he doesn't have that like Hooper gene in the same way that like Booker does. Like Booker grew up with a basketball in his hands in a different environment. And Bridges doesn't strike me as the same type of player, but I still think that he's going to have great value. And I think the Suns would be smart to keep him around.
I really hope we do. Now, before I let you go, first off, thank you so much. This has been a really fun conversation. I hope we can have you on more in the future.
Would love to.
But I got to know your thoughts on the Game of Thrones episode that just came out. And Sam, you could sit this one out. I know Sam doesn't watch, but and by the way, we can scold him on that if you want. But Kyle, what did you think of this episode?
I sat there last night. We had a situation where my internet is famously sucky, but we were having the party at our place. So I was like, just pacing around all night, worried about that moment where those 3 dots show up and it's like loading. So I just had constant anxiety about that. I was like, please God, it did it like the whole episode. Everybody at the party was like, I swear it's HBO. It's not your fault. But I just felt like shit about that. But I just sat there and drank my Game of Thrones beer and watched the first episode. I don't know, man. I feel like I was telling my wife this. Last season, this was true too. I feel like Game of Thrones is a little self-aware to the point. I don't feel like it was that way in some of the earlier seasons, and the exposition has just been so rushed at times that it's lost some of the quality that it had in its sort of slow moving stillness. Things took a little longer to evolve, and now we've got Varys going like thousands of miles in like a day. Like
he's a teleporter.
Yeah, like you can't do that with modern travel today, like much less back then with boats. Does he have a Harrier jet? Seriously. So I don't know. There was a lot of like, it was fine. That's what I would say. Last season, I thought the writing was just kind of whatever, and I just enjoy going to the world, so I'm not busting their balls over it. But I don't know. Did you like it?
I liked it. I thought it was fine, but I think it's a funny show where the conversation between Daenerys and Sam is more interesting than Jon riding a dragon.
Oh, right.
It's a funny show where what should be the most exciting thing just reminded me of Falcor,
right?
And just the never-ending story. And what was the best part was a grown man sobbing in a dark library. And that's just kind of the show it is.
Which I'm sure George Martin did a lot growing up, right?
Yeah, that's his guy. That's his avatar
right
on the show is Sam. But I won't bore everyone who doesn't watch with more talk about that. I just want to say, Kyle, thank you so much for joining us. Everyone, don't forget to subscribe to the best basketball channel on YouTube, the best NBA channel. If you want to know about this draft especially, this is an interesting draft. The Suns, of course, have to pay a lot. All Suns fans have to pay a lot of attention to the draft, so it's a good channel. The Dime Drop on YouTube, at @JKyleMann with 2 N's on Twitter, so make sure to follow him on Twitter as well. Thank you so much for joining us, Kyle.
Man, thanks for having me. This was fun. Thanks.
Don't forget to stick around. Coming up, Max McCauley from the 7 Seconds or Less podcast to cover our over-unders from before the season.
I have total trust in, our front office, everybody making the decisions, that we're going to be in good shape come next year. I'm very happy, and I think true fans know that, and know how much I care about this city, and how bad I want to win here. And we've made those, like I said, those bright spots have been very bright for us, and the young core that we have moving forward, I'm very excited to be a part of.
Okay, this is something I've been pretty excited to do at the beginning of the year, well before even the DeAnthony Melton, Ryan Anderson trade, we had Max McCauley on from the 7 Seconds or Less podcast to do some made-up over-unders that Sam and I worked on, and we've been tracking them throughout the season, and I'm excited to go over the results now. We can see who won the bragging rights. Max, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. I'm very excited to hear about how I did on my Marquise Chris and Brandon Knight predictions.
Well, we're about to find out. Let's just get right into it because there's actually quite a few of them here. This is the funniest one. We have to start with this one. We'll go in the order that we went in last time. The wins total. So we put our over-under for wins at 28.5, and all three of us went over.
Nope.
So we were all wrong on that one. But, you know, that's just kind of what it was. I don't think that I would have predicted 19 wins, so that was a little bit disappointing. But, I mean, I guess it's not surprising that we didn't go over 28.5. I think we all picked that one trying to be optimistic, right?
Yeah, definitely. And also, I mean, I don't think they would have gotten to 29 with health, but this team also suffered some really, really bad injuries, especially towards the end of the year, but also Booker missed a lot of time. Like, I'm not saying they should have won 30 games or anything, but I think 19 may have been underperforming.
I think there definitely was a path to 30 games if absolutely everything goes right. But at any given time this season, we really only had like 4 or 5 actual NBA players at most in the lineup. Like the only NBA players on this team are Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, Mikal Bridges, Rashawn Holmes, and then I think like TJ Warren, Kelly Oubre, but you only had one of those guys healthy at any point in the season. So, yeah, I mean, it's no surprise that we finished where we did. Do I get any points for being like, I thought we were going to win 30 games and not 35, but that's still technically over? I don't know. I was probably just too optimistic in the way you slice it.
We're Vegas rules here. If you missed it,
you missed it.
And we all missed it. So yeah, I think maybe there's a path to it. If we had Kelly Oubre and Tyler Johnson for the whole season, I think that would have been more of a fair prediction. But I think, Max, you're right. I think the injuries were a major factor. And I don't think it was hard to predict that Trevor Ariza would just be god awful. And also that, although we didn't have Ryan Anderson at the time, even after that, I think it's hard to predict that he just forgot how to shoot, entirely forgot how to shoot, which is a bizarre thing. But
man, even you mentioning those guys, Ryan Anderson and Trevor Ariza, it was a long season, wasn't it?
Yes.
It feels like that was like 3 seasons ago.
It really does. It feels like 100 years ago that the season even began. And some of these, you'll see when we go through these, they'll sound like archaic options here. The next one was the one I was actually the most excited to track throughout the season. Interestingly, it was Dragon Bender dunks. And we went through exactly how much he had previously. I think the most he had in a season was 11 or something like that previous to this season. We set it at 14.5, which I thought was a good number at the time. And it ended up being a very good number. Me and Sam went under. Max, you went over, and it came through at 14, just barely under.
This is all Igor's fault, man. He should have started playing Bender earlier. I would have won this easily, man.
If this was a dunk per minute type stat, like Bender was aggressive this season. He just needed the playing time, and he would have won, Max.
Yeah, he didn't play much compared to the previous 2 seasons. He had a lot less play time this year. I think 690 minutes or something like that, and previously he had like over 1,000 in last season. So he played a lot less, and I think you're right, Max. You can send him the bill.
On a serious point, though, I mean, I know we're having fun here, but Dragan Bender really did start to show something as an NBA player, and it just made me feel happy. I feel so bad for that kid. He seemed like he was so sad on this team, and it isn't working out for him at all with his NBA career. And it kind of feels like he's going to be a real NBA player now. And even if he's never, pans out to be the 4th pick, nice to see him actually, show he can be a role player in the NBA.
I just think it's weird that he can either dunk or shoot, and he can't do both. Now, one thing I will say, maybe I'm reading into this too much, but not only did he seem like he was doing a lot better towards the end of the season, or he just was doing better, but he also seemed happier, and maybe I'm just reading into body language a little too much and Instagram and Twitter posts, but he seemed like he started to enjoy life a little bit more. And of course, when you're more successful individually, it's easier to enjoy life, but maybe that's a sign for things to come if we do end up signing him as like that backup power forward, maybe spot center minutes as well. We'll see. Max, are you on board with re-signing Dragan Bender if we can get him for cheap?
I am, yeah. mean, so it's interesting, right? Because I kind of feel like most players in his position wouldn't want to come back because we declined his option as sort of an insult. But he also really credited Igor with sort of part of his development this season, and also has said a couple of times that he understands why we declined his option. Again, Bender's always been one of those guys who seems like he's almost too smart for his own good and like realized he wasn't a very good player. I think Kellen Olson's made this point before. Like he kind of is. He suffered from like knowing he wasn't as good as the other players and deferring too much. And so I think that he, if anybody, is the one player who will understand why we declined his option and maybe actually be willing to come back.
Right. I agree with that. I kind of hope we get to keep him just because I feel invested in his future now. And that's a mistake a lot of times for teams to do. But now that's just how I feel. I am a fan, ultimately. I'm not in charge of this team, so I just feel invested. Here's a funny one. Marquise Chris. First of all, funny already. Marquise Chris, technical fouls, over under 10. Max and I said under. Sam said over. And he only had 2. So I still tracked it, even though he's not on the Suns. I still wanted to track these guys and what they did. He only had 2, and I think a lot of that is a minutes thing, just like Dragon Bender here. But maybe he's just not as mad that he's not succeeding anymore.
No, had they found the minutes for him, he would have gotten over 10, and I would have won this one. It's just they finally realized that Marquise Chris is not an NBA level talent.
He also probably should have gotten thrown out of that game where he got in the fight with, God, I'm blanking. Who did he get in the fight with? Oh, it was Serge Ibaka. Yeah. He probably deserved to get thrown out of that game, so you can throw another one on there.
It's still way under, surprisingly. This is an interesting one because of the way the conversation went on the podcast. From my memory, I didn't actually go back and listen to it. I probably should have. But this was Troy Daniels' games played for the Suns, and we set it at 56.5. We all chose under, and he played for the team the whole year, but we were all still correct. He only played 51 games this season.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that weird?
That's a fascinating one because I think not only were all of us wrong, Igor was wrong.
Right.
He should have played a lot more.
I think the logic there was that we might have found like either bought him out towards the end of the season. Like he would have been part of a regular rotation, but then would have been bought out or traded for a second round pick at the deadline or something. And then we just kept him and sort of played him every other game. It was a weird season for Troy Daniels. He's another guy that I'd like to keep around, quite honestly, but it's just, I don't know if the money is really there.
He's also someone who there's no way he comes back, right?
Yeah.
I would be so pissed if I were him.
Yeah, I think he's on the Warriors next year. Honestly, I think there's a chance he's on a playoff team like that where he just, I mean, why not? I mean, he's probably not going to make a ton of money. Like, yeah,
he's going to be Daniel House.
Make a ton of money, and he might as well come off the bench for a playoff team where they need some extra shooting, and he'll be wide open when he plays next to stars. I mean, his value it skyrockets even more when he's wide open, and I think he's probably just going to pick a good team. He'll have his choice of good teams if he's a bench guy. So I think you're right, Max. There's no way. Next one, TJ Warren. Games started for the Suns at 41. And this was another one where we talked about the potential of trading him. Sam and I took the over. Max took the under. And Max, you got that one. He only started 36 games for the team.
It's hard to have a victory parade on that one because he just had another one of his mysterious injuries that he seems to have every single year. But man, I love this exercise. You got to do this every single year because it's really showing us like the unintended thoughts of what we're having on. Is it really?
Yeah, it's really odd because these numbers we just I pulled them out of my ass, but. The way that we thought that we were going to get to a lot of these numbers is not the way that we actually got to them because we talked a lot. No. And for the next one is another good example. TJ Warren games played for the Suns, so similar, but this is a total number of games played, 56.5. I went under. Both you went over, and he only played 43 for the season. And this is because we thought, I only picked the under because I thought there was a high chance that he would be traded. And maybe if he was healthy, that still could have happened, although by that point there was clear tanking happening, so maybe not. But instead, it was an injury that he ended up not playing those games. And I think 43, that's such a low amount of games. I really expected him to play more. It's disappointing. It seems like every time he's improved, he was shooting 40% in the season that he had the mysterious head injury that took him out for half the season in the past. He was shooting 46% from three in this season, and then he had another injury that took him out. It's like his improvements keep getting halted by these injuries. It's really unfortunate for his career, but I'm disappointed to be right about that one as well, just like you, Max.
Yeah, it's kind of a theme here.
Yep.
I really think with TJ, it's like, it seems so unlikely that both TJ and Oubre are brought back, but on the off chance that it happens, we're going to be thrust right into that conversation again, right? It's going to be all about bring TJ Warren off the bench. He's better as a sixth man. How many games is he going to start? It's the same exact conversation that we'll be having in August. It's just right now it seems so much more likely that he's going to be sort of on the chopping block for salary cap purposes. So we'll see.
Yeah. Don't you think that TJ Warren is like the least likely major piece of this team to be on the team next season? It just feels like they're going to have to get rid of him somehow, even if it's just dumping him into cap space.
And that's, I think, the most likely scenario, because what is a value of a guy who can't stay healthy, even though he's improved so much on his shooting so far? If they do end up trading him, I think that the likelihood is that it would be for cap space, because he's not at exactly a high point as far as value, even though he's been playing so well. If you can only count on him for 40 games a season, how much are you willing to trade for him if you're another team? So I think you're right about that, Max. Igor Kokoshkov, Coach of the Year. This was the next one. This was a novelty one, because we set the over/under of votes at 1. And the question was, how optimistic were you about the Suns this season? Essentially, we were measuring our optimism. Funny enough, we all went under. And
we're not so bad. I mean, we picked the over on wins, but at least we're not lunatics.
Yeah, and I think that this has not happened yet. Obviously, we don't know the votes, but I think that he's not getting a vote. So I'm going to say we're all right on that one. How about that?
It'd be hard to see him getting a vote unless David Nash has a vote. I don't think he does. So I think we're safe on the
under. Here's a funny one. Dragon Bender 3-point percentage, 38.5%. We were very optimistic on this one.
I picked the over on this. This
so
is
did
the only
I.
one I remember. So I didn't look up these. You told me not to look these up before we did this segment. So, I have no idea what's going on. But this one I remember I picked the over. And that is fucking pathetic because of how flat Dragon Bender's 3-point shot is. I don't know how I thought he was going to shoot 40%.
Yes, Max was the only one that picked the under, and he was way right on that one. And I remember the conversation going, I don't want to root for the under on this one. I remember that one, so I wanted to root for the over. And you know what? That was his only real skill, right? Last season he shot pretty well. It was like 36, almost 37%, I believe. So we were counting on a slight improvement. And, like I said, he just seems to not be able to do either one. He can either shoot or he can either dunk, and he's not going to do both. So that might be his future there. I hope he can get that back. If he does come back, I just don't. What I worry about is he ends up on the Spurs next season, and he can all of a sudden do both, and he really puts his passing together all at once, and that would be tragic to watch. But, Max, you were right on that one, so good work.
It would be tragic to watch. It also seems kind of inevitable. But, I don't want to take any credit for this. I'm sure when I said under, I meant like slightly under or like, in the 30s somewhere. Not what he finished with like 22%.
21.
Really, really
21%.
Yeah, that's really not good. And Josh Jackson was great. So you know what? We don't know anything, guys.
Well, Sam, you can celebrate this one because it was TJ Warren's 3-point percentage, and you're the only one that went over, and we set it at 28.5, and he absolutely smashed that one over 20% higher. He ended the season, his 43 games of it, at 48.6. So good work on that one, Sam.
Yeah, at least I get thrown one bone today. I think when I was going for that, though, I was probably thinking like 31%, not 40 or 44,
who would have predicted that?
Yeah.
If you would have told me he shot 48% from 3, I would have thought he played like 3 games.
You would have picked the under on the games on that one.
Yep.
So Ayton, this is our first rookie one. Ayton points per game. We set it at a low amount now that I look back at it, at 13.5, and I still went under because I just didn't think there was a way for a point guard to get him the ball. I was right about that, but I was wrong about his points. Sam and Max, you both went over, and he ended the season with 16.3, somehow creating all those shots without a point guard. Funny enough, on later one, I still went over on Booker assists, and I still went under on these points, so that was probably a mistake on that end. But good work, Sam. Good work, Max.
What's crazy to me about this one, I think 13.5 is like exactly what Amari Stoudemire averaged his rookie year when he won Rookie of the Year. And Ayton's at 16 and 10. It's just testament to how strong this class was. That Ayton is at 16 and 10 on 60% true shooting, something that's never been done before by a big man, and he's not in the conversation, which he shouldn't be. But that's just crazy to me. I mean, I think 13.5 and like 8 is what Amari put up back in 2002.
It's got to be, and I haven't researched this yet, but it's got to be the best top 5 draft class performance in a first rookie year of all time. Every single guy exceeded expectations. It's really nuts. And somebody on Twitter, I can't remember who it was, ranked all the players and had it 8th and 4th, and apologized to me because it was in the context of a conversation. And I was like, there's really no reason to apologize for anything. Like, any order you have these 5 guys on isn't going to upset me. Like, these 5 guys are all awesome, and I think there's a lot of outcomes where they could all be the best player or the 5th best player.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think that it's not an insult to be 4th in this draft, whereas it could be in a lot of previous drafts, and that's not really it here. We had another rookie, Mikal Bridges. This one's hilarious in hindsight. We put his over-under of starting games at 9.5, and me and Sam still went under. We still went under. Guess how many games he started? And any guesses how many he started this year? No, Max went over.
80?
A lot more than that. He started probably, 35 games?
56 games started for Mikal Bridges.
Wow, well, that was wow. Well, but part of it though is all the injuries and stuff we didn't foresee.
Yes.
But also, he was also really good. I think he was better than a lot of us thought he was going to be.
Yeah, I thought he would come along a little bit slower, but I think it should have been more obvious. 22-year-old coming out of the draft on a team with not a lot of great players. But we also had Trevor Ariza at the time, so the assumption was that he wouldn't be starting with Trevor Ariza, right? We had that in mind when we did this, so that didn't happen. He only played a few games. Here's a funny one that has a surprising ending here. Eli Okobo, minutes per game, 16.7. And we all went under, and he averaged 18.5 minutes per game.
Wow, that is the fakest number ever.
18.5 garbage time minutes per game, I think you mean.
When I started doing this one, I started marking that we all got that one right, and then I looked it up to be safe. And I was like, I couldn't believe it was 18. I thought for sure it'd be like 13, 14 minutes, but I didn't. A lot of those 18.5 minutes I was only half paying attention to, so I guess I don't remember them because they weren't that fun to watch. But yes, it's a fake number, but this is Vegas rules, so none of us got that one right. DeAndre Ayton rebounds per game, 9.5. Max, you and I went over. Sam, you went under, and he ended it with 10.3. How dare you, Sam? Explain yourself.
Why do you hate DeAndre Ayton?
I have no explanation.
Do you hate fun? You don't want to root for fun things?
I don't watch Game of Thrones, so evidently I hate fun.
Well, you need to start doing that, man.
Well, yes, exactly. Here's one to redeem you as far as your Ayton takes here. We had Ayton Rookie of the Year first place votes, and this is tied to our conversation about how good this draft class was. We put it at half, basically. Could he get more than half of the votes? Sam, you and I both went over. He's clearly not going to get more than half. So, Max, you get that one.
Clearly what we've learned is that I do like DeAndre Ayton. I'm just stupid. And missed both of those.
This is back when I was a communist for supporting Luka Doncic, but now it's everybody supports Luka Doncic. It's not cool anymore, but yeah, back then I was a communist.
Yeah, what a stupid time. Like, the idea of not enjoying Luka Doncic is a funny idea to me because even if, he's just fun to watch. He's a giant Steve Nash. Like, just have fun with it.
I do think we're getting closer to the point where we can all enjoy these guys because we know they're all good. It's easier when they're all good that we can all enjoy them, but there obviously is still some nerd Twitter, draft Twitter element that does not like DeAndre Ayton. But we're trying to convince them. They're going to learn soon enough.
Well, now that Zach Lowe is like very publicly defending Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton, then nerd Twitter can't turn on him because he's their king.
He's the best, man. I love Zach Lowe.
He really how good he is at covering all 30 teams is remarkable. I don't know how he does it. Like he's a hard worker. All right, this is a funny one. Brandon Knight, games started for the Phoenix Suns. We set it at I can't even say this. We set it at 41.
Oh my God.
And Sam, you and Max both went over.
Jesus.
Oh my God.
I got that one.
It went over, did it? Did it go over?
No.
Are we keeping a tally here? Or do we have the final count?
I'm keeping tally. I'm going to wait till the end to tell you the tally.
Yeah. Wait till the end. But Jesus Christ.
I said before the podcast started that maybe we should substitute Jamal Crawford in for Brandon Knight for the purposes of this. But I don't think Jamal Crawford started any games. So I don't know if that was helpful.
No, I don't think he did. Yeah, I don't think he did.
How many 4-point plays?
Yeah. All right. Josh Jackson, field goal percentage, 44%. Sam, you and Max, once again, both went over. I went under, and he hit the under, 41.3%. I appreciate your guys' optimism on this one, though. Explain yourselves, both of you. What did you think was going to happen?
Well, I didn't expect Josh Jackson to shoot 40% on transition layups, for one, because if you think about it, the 3-point shooting kind of came along. Like, he kind of finished as a decent 3-point shooter. So if he would just finish better than the 10th percentile as a transition scorer, then I think I would have gotten this one. Same with Max.
Max, in your defense, you did say that you wanted to root for him to do better. So I think that's why you chose that one.
Oh, God. There's no defense to what I did there. There was a time in March, I think, when his 3-point percentage was competing with his at-the-rim percentage. Dude, he's so bad, guys. I know people want to like him because he's the 4th pick, and I guess he has a fiery personality. But I have literally never seen a worse offensive decision maker in my entire life. He chooses every wrong decision. If it's choose your own adventure book, every single choice he made would result in his death in the book. He is the worst decision maker I've ever seen in my entire life.
So I have a theory. If we just change all of his calendars to say March in every month through the year, maybe he'll play really well.
It would probably help. The sad thing is he wasn't even really that good in March this year, but definitely relative to the rest of his season, he was.
Yeah. It's the only time that we can have any hope, and that's what we survive off of. We are Suns fans. Hope is it's like a drug. It's like our cocaine.
That's all we got.
We need it. This one I actually went back and had to listen to clarify how we worded it. This is Tyson Chandler games played, and we did not say for the Suns. Some of these we did say for the Suns. So we talked about how he sat out a lot of games in the last few seasons because we were clearly tanking, and we set it at 53.5. I went over. Sam, you and Max went under. And he ended with 55, so a very slight over and a very close number. So
nice number you pulled out of your ass there.
Yeah,
it's a really nice win. All I have to remember on Tyson Chandler is when he was released and signed by the Lakers, and all the Lakers fans celebrated and told us how stupid we were, and how James Jones was doing this huge favor for LeBron James. Jesus Christ, guys! Tyson Chandler's been washed for like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, that was a favor to Tyson Chandler. That's literally all it was. And that's okay to do. He spent a lot of time. He basically was in jail here in the Suns. It's okay to do a favor for a guy that we basically put in prison for a few years. So let him go. All right, here's a fun one. And it's Devin Booker's high-scoring game for the season. We set it at 46.5, which is a high number, and he smashed that one, and he went over. I was the only one that went under, so Max, you and Sam both got that one right. So good work for both of you, and shame on me for ever doubting that he would get below that.
It doesn't matter here because all the high-scoring games were losses anyway. I mean, if he had scored 25 but with 15 assists and a win, then that's what really matters, though.
Nothing that ever happens in a loss has ever mattered. That Michael Jordan legendary Boston in the Garden 69-point loss doesn't count. Even though Larry Bird called him Jesus or whatever he called him, doesn't count. But yeah, I mean, you were right until the end of the season, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, it was a close. My theory was that he would have more help. I was wrong about that. All right, Devin Booker. This is Sam, where you're gonna have to crawl into a corner on the next few of these. Devin Booker points per game. This is a fascinating number, 26.5. Both me and Max picked over. Sam, you picked under. And he hit at 26.6.
Wow. Well, I think
Mike, I think the real story of this is your line setting ability.
Yeah, that's the only consistent trend I'm getting here. I think I was thinking exactly what you were thinking. Is that I don't know what the fuck I was thinking here. Honestly, I think he would have more help, so therefore he would score less and assist more. Maybe that's what I was thinking.
He did assist more, and you did not think that, Sam, because we put the over and under for the assists at 6, and both Max and I went over, and Sam, you went under, and he hit the over at 6.8.
All right, man. I don't know what to tell you at this point.
Is it Sam Cooper or Sam Gulliver?
All right, last one, and then I'll give you the totals. This was Devin Booker starts at point guard. and we put the over-under at 1. I was the only one that picked over. I don't know how many times he started at point guard because I stopped counting after it was 2, because that's when I won. But I know that he started more than one game. There was one game that Troy Daniels started with him. There was another one that Mikal Bridges and Josh Jackson started with him in the backcourt. So he started more than one there. It's a tragic one that had to happen, to be honest. Now that we've seen how it dramatically affects his three-point shot and how much he needs a playmaker next to him, I'm not super proud that I won that one, but I did, and I hope that does not continue in the future unless it's an absolute necessity because of injuries.
I will say, I remember my logic on that one was that Devin Booker wouldn't start at point guard, but he would close at point guard. And that happened in the first game, and they won the game, and that was the high point of my season for a lot of reasons, mostly because I just wanted to win this over-under challenge. But it didn't end up panning out, so there you go.
Well, Max, I have good news for you. You did win. And first, I have to say, how dare you come on our podcast and beat us both like this? But you ended with 13 correct, which is a really good number, considering I think there was only like 18 or 19 in here total. So a really good number. If you did, so put your money on it next year. Go to Vegas, make some bets. I had 12, so I was slightly underneath you here. And Sam, do you want to know how many you had?
No.
You had 6 correct.
No.
Sam, you are the Phoenix Suns of this challenge.
Jesus. All right. Well, I just want to say I'm not afraid to admit that I'm wrong a lot. You know, that's what this is all about, right? You know, we can just say whatever we want without any accountability. If there's anything I take from this challenge, it's 2 things. This was a shit show of a season. That's the first thing. Most of these were comically awful. Like even when you guys got it right, it was for the wrong reasons, sort of.
Right.
And then the second thing is, anyone listening to this, if you want to hear an intelligent analyst who's actually going to make the right predictions, go and listen to Max and David at the 7 Seconds or Less podcast. Start disregarding anything that comes out of my mouth, because clearly it's not great.
Well, that was very nice, Sam, but I think you do a lot better when you're not talking about Brandon Knight and Ryan Anderson. So I think you generally do better when you're predicting players who are actually playing.
Predicting is not our game here. We're fans, after all. Max, you want to come back, do this again next season? Let's just make this a tradition.
I'll jump on whenever you guys want me, man. I always have a good time.
Yeah, it's been very fun. Thank you once again. Don't forget to listen to the 7 Seconds or Less podcast. Max is fantastic with David Nash, his partner that we made a joke about earlier in this podcast. And, of course, follow Max on Twitter. Max, what's your Twitter handle again?
It's MaxMCC11. And before I let you keep going, Sam, we got to get you on the podcast soon. We haven't had many guests lately. We haven't had many podcasts lately. We've been busy, but soon we're going to have you on.
Awesome. Love to hear it. Everyone,
thank you again for listening, of course. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, listen to our podcast, and follow us on Twitter.
I be the worst courtside reporter. So, Dwight Howard, how do you feel like your 12 missed free throws affect the people that bet the over?
You just wrapped up another episode of The Timeline. I love this podcast. And if you're like me, you want as much Suns content as possible. That's why I listen to The Timeline every week. So if you want to go ahead and hear some more Phoenix Suns content, go ahead and listen to The Solar Panel, a Phoenix Suns show. We are available on Spotify, on iTunes, on Stitcher, on Google Play. Anywhere that you listen to podcasts, go ahead and check out The Solar Panel, a Phoenix Suns show.
Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, and Thomas Hearns. Legends, whose four-way rivalry defined one of the greatest eras in boxing history. Relive their decade of dominance in the new Showtime sports documentary, The Kings, a 4-part series premiering Sunday, June 6th, only on Showtime.